Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio with this week's Sunday preview. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and of course warcry content as well. Everything from news, reactions, reviews, to all types of painting, modeling, converting, and magnetization tutorials. And of course we show off our commissions as they go out of the studio. But that's enough of that. Let's take a look. Finally, we have some limited previews. We've got some, I wouldn't say surprises because we knew they were coming, but they're here. Let's take a look at the new Warhammer 40,000 combat patrols. And, man, well, we'll get right into it. We're going to talk about the value of them a little bit here too, because we are seeing a stark difference between them. So next week's pre-orders are headed up by a pair of combat patrol boxes along with the characters from the Thousand Sons and Grey Knights. But before we dive into the details, here are the hobby highlights. So again, you can check out this video if you want. I'm going to skip it because the sound is always terrible. Eagerly anticipated combat patrol boxes for the Thousand Sons and Grey Knights are available to pre-order for next Saturday. Both sets feature around 25 power level worth of miniatures and are a great way to start a new army or add reinforcements to an existing one. So they're saying that they're each around 25 power level worth of miniatures. So obviously that's how they're balancing them. Very interesting. So, I mean, which kind of makes sense. I mean, a quarter of an army in a box. Right, sure. So you just buy 4 of these in your set. Yeah, right. Thousand Sons Combat Patrol. So we've already seen these. We've already seen the contents. We've discussed them a little bit. It was pre-price hikes, so we know now these are going to be $150. They have gone up $10 USD. So first in the Thousand Sons box, we have the new character. We have 20 Tzaangors, and we have 5 Scarab Acult Terminators. Included with the 20 Tzaangors, you do get 4 of the Tzaangor upgrade frames to give them chainswords and bolt pistols. So that is actually quite a bit packed into there. Now granted, 4 of the things you get are the upgrade sprues and 20 of the things you get are Tzaangors. But that's beside the point. The Thousand Sons march to war under the auspices of an Infernal Master, his 5 Scarab Acult Terminator bodyguard, and more Tzaangors than you can shake a force stave at. 20. While the Tzaangors swarm across the battlefield claiming objectives, the Terminators continue their implacable advance, gunning down foes with Inferno, combi bolters, and cutting down anyone who gets too close to their Khopesh blades. So yeah, previously the Infernal Master was only available in the Hexfire set, so he was limited edition, or at least limited release, pay to play in advance type thing. He's very good. Very desirable, very nice looking model as well. So it is awesome to see him in action. And then obviously Scarab Acult Terminators are very good as well. Tzaangors are mediocre at best. Also there are like building restrictions for making your army for how many Tzaangors you can take. So you're kind of limited there. They do have like the upgrade frames with the chainsword and pistols obviously. So you need 4 of those to make 20 Tzaangors with all chainswords and pistols. So overall, quite a bit in this box. 26 total miniatures. We'll look at the value here shortly. Next we have the Grey Knights Combat Patrol. And again, we've taken a look at this already. Very light on models. Obviously, power level, I guess, is 25 or roughly. But only 12 models in this box. If you prefer hunting demons rather than making packs with them, the Grey Knights Combat Patrol features a Librarian in Terminator armor, 5 Grey Knights in Terminator armor, 5 Grey Knights, which you can build as a Strike Squad, an Interceptor Squad, a Purifier Squad, or a Purgation Squad, and a Mighty Nemesis Dreadknight. The Terminators provide a sturdy core to your army, while the Dreadknight strolls across the battlefield, slicing things up with his Nemesis Greatsword or smashing them with a Nemesis Demon Hammer. So again, only 12 models in this set. Nice models. There's not a ton of options you could take in this army. And like for instance, like the 5 regular Grey Knights build any of those 4 options. So you're probably going to be using all this stuff, and you could probably buy multiples of these. Unfortunately, the value is just not there. And again, we'll take a look at that. And then here is the Castellan Crowe model. This was the one also available previously only in the Hexfire set. I'm not sure why they didn't include Castellan Crowe in the box set. He is very, very good. So having him in this box set would have been perfect. And honestly, would have made up the value. Maybe they didn't want to give him to you in there because he's a special character. You could only take one, so it would discourage people from buying multiples of him. I honestly don't know, but he is very good. Alongside the Combat Patrol boxes are a pair of characters originally available in the Hexfire Battle Box. Now here on their own for the first time. Castellan Crowe wields the legendary Black Blade of Antwyr, a cursed sword that can strike down even the most deadly of foes. You can assemble him with a helmet or without, so he can look his enemies straight in the eye. Learn more about Crowe and his ill-fated sword in the Black Library novel, Warden of the Blade. And then the Infernal Master. Obviously, both these models are great. The Thousand Suns Infernal Master is also available separately for the first time. In-game, he's a powerful psyker who can make pacts with the demons to bolster your forces. He comes with a few floaty little friends called tutelaries. You can find full rules for fielding the Infernal Master in the games of Warhammer 40k in Codex Thousand Suns. Very nice. Super cool model. Again, very good in game terms. Both these models were limited edition, previously only available in that Hexfire box. So it's cool to see them coming to the tabletop. The Infernal Master should be, pretty readily available, obviously being available separately, and then also in the box set. They should be all over the place, along with a swarm of Tzaangors. I think every Grey Knight's army will have Crowe in him. He's very good, cheap in points, and just overall effective. So we'll take a look at the rest of the pre-releases, and then we'll jump over and look at the value, because I think you will be surprised. So from the Black Library next. Next week's Black Library pre-orders keep the action in the 41st millennium. Dark Imperium sees Rebute Guilliman desperately trying to defend Ultmar from his traitorous brother Mortarion. Even with the might of the newly created Primaris Space Marines, he can't hold back the tide of the Death Guard. So Dark Imperium coming out. The updated version now available in paperback. And then we have the Catachan Devils. Hot on the heels of Krieg comes a new Astra Militarum novel based on the exploits of the Catachan jungle fighters. As the Catachans prepare to go on the offensive against orcs, they find themselves saddled with barely trained troops from another regiment. Can he prove that he's not a coward and earn the respect of Colonel Haskell, Hellfist, Aldelon? So we have the Catachan Devil, Astra Militarum novel. And that's coming out in paperback, ebook, and audiobook editions. And then new audiobooks. There are also a pair of new audiobooks on pre-order from Saturday. Space Marine Conquest, Ashes of Prospero finds the venerable Space Wolves Rune Priest, Niall Stormcaller, leading a force of Prospero to investigate rumors of sightings of the Space Wolves' legendary 13th Great Company. And Gaunt's Ghost, Trader General, tracks the legendary Colonel Commissar Gaunt, and his team as they try to stop the defectors from revealing key secrets to the forces of chaos. And also, if you are German, Erdesh will be coming for the first time in German, the Magister of the Martyr. And also, Kedian Honor. So, and then some stuff on Warhammer Plus. Painting tutorial, freehanding fundamentals, and some White Dwarf stuff on there as well. So, but that being said, definitely some cool pre-orders coming. Awesome to see these limited characters being available. These limited orders are always a pain in the butt in the beginning, and only being available in Hexfire, and that was quite a while ago as well. Definitely if you missed your chance to get Crowe or the Infernal Master, you are probably super excited. But let's take a look now at the value here. So we have 5 of the regular Marines, 5 Terminators, a Librarian, and a Dreadknight. Let's take a look at Games Workshop site. Obviously, Grey Knight's line is a little light. So because the Grey Knight Strike Squad is only available in 10 models, and it is $65, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So instead of just cutting it in half, we're going to say $35 for 5 guys. So we're going to take the more expensive side of that. So 35 plus a Grey Knight Terminator squad is 55. So $88. I'm sorry, $90. And then the Nemesis Dreadknight is 65, so that's 155. And then we're missing the Librarian, which is 35. So that is 190. And that's it. That's the whole thing. $190. And it costs $150 right out of the gate. So you're saving $40. This is by far the lowest model count and the worst value of any of the combat patrols so far. Now, arguably, the composition is good because you're going to use everything in here. You're going to use the Librarian. You're going to use 5 Terminators. You're going to use, 5 Marines, however you decide to equip them, build them, etc. You're going to use a Dreadknight, for sure. This is all good stuff in an army that you would use. But you still only get 12 models. And there's almost no value here. Most of the other boxes, costing $150, you're getting like around $250 in value. So you're basically, saving that $100 if you bought the models individually. So as far as I'm concerned, Grey Knight Combat Patrol is a complete fail. They could have easily just given you another $30 in value and just given you 10 of them. You also would have had 17 models, so it wouldn't look so light. I guess they were just trying to balance the points. I'm honestly not sure. It was a huge missed opportunity, in my opinion, as this box contains literally like no value. So next, let's look at the Combat Patrol 1000 Suns. This one is not nearly as bad. It's actually pretty nice. So if we look here at the 1000 Suns, quite a bit more available in this range, just because some of the demons and everything. But here we have the Scarab Acult Terminators. So now we have to assume, because it has the Infernal Master and we don't know what Crow is going to cost, I would assume they're going to come into line with the current existing characters. So we know some characters are 35, some are 42, and some are 45. I'm going to assume both those characters are going to be 45. Castellan Crowe and the Infernal Master. So the high end. So we're just going to assume 45 each for them. If they're lower, it might be off slightly. So 45 for the Infernal Master, 60 for the Occult Terminators. So that's 105. And then 2 squads of Tzaangors, which are 50 each. So that is 205. And then 4 Tzaangor upgrade sprues, which are $15 each. So that's $60. So that is $265. Quite a bit more value in this set. $265 is obviously much better. So just flipping back over, $265 right here versus, what did we say, $185? I mean, that's embarrassing. $190. So this one has almost no value. This one is technically on paper the most value contained in a combat patrol. So complete different ends of the spectrum here. This one has 26 models, one of the larger combat patrols we've seen so far. This one has 12 models, by far the smallest combat patrol we've seen so far. And while Grey Knights are MEQ, like elite army, we know that the like for instance the Custodes combat patrol has not come out yet, but we've already seen what's in it, and we know it's going to be 5 sisters, 5 regular Custodes, and then 3 bikes. And I believe that was it. But even that is 13 models. So even the Custodes Combat Patrol has more models than this does. And they're supposed to be basically the most elite army. So very surprising. Almost no value here. Now, is it still worth it? You know, if you were going to buy all these models anywhere, if you were going to buy, well, obviously you can't buy the 5 regular Space Marines, but if you were going to, or if you were going to buy the other ones, you basically get the 5 Space Marines for free. If you were going to buy the Nemesis Grey Knight, the Terminators, and, you know, the Space Marine squad, you get the character for free. So there is still some value here. I'm not saying it's not worth buying at all. It's sort of, it's light that there's only 12 models in it. But you still save money. Now here, you have to remember, at $50 per Tzaangor squad, and then another $15 per upgrade sprue, each of these Tzaangors with the 2 upgrade sprues, each 10 Tzaangors is 50 plus 30 for the 2 upgrade sprues. So that's 80, and that's another 80. So while this is technically the best value combat patrol we've seen yet, $160 worth of that value is coming from the Tzaangors. So unless you need a ton of Tzaangors, this box may not be worth it. Now it is worth it because it's such a good deal in my opinion. It's loaded with value, or retail value I should say. You know, but basically $100 for the character and the Terminators, you're then paying $50 for the Tzaangors. So you're basically getting, you're buying 1 squad of Tzaangors, you're getting 4 upgrade frames and another squad of Tzaangors for free. So, you know, I like to compare retail price, what you would pay otherwise, to see how the value is there, to see if it's worth buying these boxes. So in this case, if you need Tzaangors, this box is definitely worth buying. If you don't need Tzaangors, it might be worth it to just pick up what you need separately. But that's my honest opinion. But regardless, I think you're going to want to get Castellan Crowe if you're playing Grey Knights. I mean, you definitely are. He's amazing. And then you will have an Infernal Master, which is also very good. So in my opinion, so far from what we've seen, this is by far the worst combat patrol box. It's great composition, but there's not enough models and there's not enough value. And it seems to me when they talked about the fact that they mentioned 25 power means that they were less concerned, I think, or maybe they were just being defensive. But it seems like they were less concerned about how much money you save and more about making these quote-unquote balanced armies, as in 25 power level each. Which is interesting to me, because if I was going to buy some, I would rather have the monetary value there and then just sit a couple guys on the sidelines if my army was going to be too strong or too many points and I was going to face somebody else. We did a start collecting box, like League basically, and it was very, very fun. Part of the problem was some armies didn't have a start collecting box at the time. A lot of those have a combat patrol now. So very soon we'll have combat patrols for every army. It would be really fun to do something like that again, where everybody picks up a combat patrol and then that is like your starting army. And then every like week or 2 weeks, maybe you play every week, and then every 2 weeks you add in more points to your army. But say for instance you started with 500 point army, whatever the minimum is that someone can build out of their combat patrol, that would be like your first week. So you have a couple weeks to pick up your combat patrol, build everything up, and then get it at least tabletop ready, painted, whatever you're going to take on that first day. So 500 points basically. And then anything over 500 points that came in the combat patrol, you sit on the sidelines, you can't use. And then later on you can add in the other stuff. And anything else you want on top of that. So you play game on like we did on Saturdays. So you'd have a couple weeks from when it starts to get everything painted up and then ready to go. You then come in on Saturday, play, you know, like tournament style, like a couple games. So depending on how many people you had, play 2 or 3 games. Small games, obviously, they go pretty quick. It's fun. Everybody's starting with like a new core force. You're getting to see people's paint jobs, build some camaraderie. Overall, very fun. And then you come back the next week and play again against other people that you didn't play, or against whoever performed the best with no new models. And then the week after that, you would come back in with another, say, 200 or 250 points, however you did it roughly. So now you've expanded your force by 50%, let's say, 250. And then same thing, you play 3 games, come back the next week, play 3 games again against different people or top bracket, however you're doing it. So you're keeping track of like how everyone does, or you're having each kind of like week be like an independent sort of tournament. Either way is fine, however you want to do it. If all your players are consistent and staying in the game, you can keep track of everyone and match up the better players with each other to kind of balance it out. If you're just playing all or none, which is how we did it. We basically just started from scratch every single week, and you just played 3 players like in a bracket randomly, and then just ranked up until it was over. I thought that was super fun. Everybody got like a new chance each week, because you could have a pretty weak combat patrol, let's say, add in 1 key unit, and then all of a sudden like the second week, or you know, you're once you add in that unit, all of a sudden your combat patrol is awesome. In our case, it was start collecting. So by your first game, no new models. Second week, third week you have extra models. Fourth week, no new models. Fifth week, another extra models, and then 6th week you play with those same models again. So by the 6th week, everybody had like a 1,000-point army, you know, at least tabletop ready. It was super fun. Definitely exciting to build along with everybody, see everybody's army progress and everything. Super fun. Definitely excited to see that. So in that case, I could see them doing something like this. But again, the point is that if you got a start collecting box or a combat patrol that has way over the allocated points in it, you could easily just not use some of those units or some of those models, or like tone down and not have a bunch of equipment, etc. If you played something like the Scions box, I think the start collecting Scions box was like 350 points or something. So even if you like fully tooled everything out, your army was like still light. Like, so it kind of restricted everybody else, or at least restricted you. So I like the idea of something like that. I like the idea of combat patrols being like armies you could pick up and be ready to play. You know, as long as they're like legal and fieldable. Some are going to have troops in them and you'll be able to field like legit detachments. Others are going to be like a little more restricted. You know, and you're fielding basically just like an HQ and a troop or whatever. But man, I think the dollar value is just the most important thing. I mean, it's good to have good composition and get lots of models, but if you don't feel like you're getting a deal, I mean, are people really going to buy it? Is it really a good box to get? I mean, there shouldn't be that much of a differentiation. You shouldn't get over $115 in value. You know, and I say value because if you would have bought them individually, you would have saved $115 on the Thousand Sons versus the Grey Knights box. You know, where you're saving like 35, 40 bucks. And most of the Space Marine boxes are around $240 in value at $150. So this again, composition not bad, but by far the worst value. But that being said, pop in Castellan Crowe. Again, cheap on points, great model. Pick up that Infernal Master. Well, you already have one, but definitely good to see these limited edition or limited availability models come into the game. Especially with how fast Hexfire sold out. You know, you were really SOL if you didn't get one, if they didn't reserve you a copy or you weren't able to snag one up. But definitely excited to see them hitting the tabletop soon. Fully available. So let me know what you think. Are you kind of disappointed by the value difference or the model difference in these boxes? Do you really not care? Because you're probably more likely to use all this than 20 Tzaangors. Is it weird that $60 worth of the value from the Tzaangors comes from upgrade sprues? Curious to hear your guys' opinion. Definitely appreciate you checking out the video today. But this is next week's pre-orders coming in. Now we have a pretty good idea what the cost is going to be. We know the combat patrol boxes are going to be $150 a piece. I don't think they would just make this one cheaper or anything like that. We have a pretty good idea. Minimum, these characters are going to come in at $35. Max, they're going to come in at $45. And they're probably going to potentially be somewhere in the middle, like $42. I expect them at the high end of the range. I think both these will be $45 each. So, but let me know what you think. Always appreciate the feedback and like to hear from you guys. Which one are you more excited for? You going to do some psychic battling with one of these armies or the other? Ready to start a new Grey Knights or Thousand Sons army? Expand on the ones you already have? Or are you just happy to see a combat patrol for them? But that's it for today. Make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and Warcry content as well. Make sure to check out our commissions as they roll out of the studio, and look back at some of the videos on how to paint, magnetize, convert, or do custom lighting on any of your miniatures or terrain. But that being said, I am Warhammer Man. This is Warhammer Man Studios, and I'm out of here.